Ever wonder why your phone rings in one neighborhood but not the other? It's not random, it's your Google business profile. And there's one map that shows the truth, a geogrid. Today we're going to be comparing industry leader Local Falcon against new kid on the block, Whitespark's local ranking grids. So we're going to look at the pros and cons of both of these tools, and I think by the end you'll know which one you should go with depending on where you're at in your business. So you actually have a tool that can help you book more jobs. So let's jump right into it by asking, what the heck is a geogrid and why does it matter? And by the way, if you know the answer, well, you know how YouTube works. You can skip ahead past this part. This is a geogrid. Each one of these dots corresponds to a separate search. And that ranking that you're seeing is how our business is ranking, in particular for this one, for Bend web design, which is important because even though we specialize in doing local SEO for established contractor businesses, we still build websites all the time. And what some people don't realize is one of the strongest local SEO ranking factors, at least according to local SEO experts, is the proximity of address to the point of search. Number 3 most important ranking factor back in 2023, and there's actually a 2025 one coming out soon. So we're looking forward to that. So when you look at a heat map, you'll see variation. I'll let you guys know I live somewhere in this general region of Bend, but it's nice that we're starting to show up in areas outside. It hasn't always been that way. And with about 50% of searches stopping somewhere in the map pack, it's important to get as much green as we can in each one of those spots. Now, if you're a local business owner trying to DIY your own SEO, why would you even care about a tool like this? Well, the key is that sometimes when you do these rankings, you get something like this. And this is actually a fun case study. This person filled out an SEO strategy video form, and this was the before ranking. They filled out the form. It took a little bit. I sent back the video and then they implemented the changes, and this is the after. So pretty good. Now, even when you start to get to orange and yellow, that might not translate into phone calls or contact form submissions or however you normally get leads. But when you start to get to that light green and that dark green, that's when we really start to see results for clients. By the way, if you want to get a free SEO strategy video for your business, check out the link in the description below. And so just like I did for that person, it's important when you're doing your own local SEO that you get that baseline vital. How am I ranking across the city right now? You might be surprised at how bad it is. And then what you want to do is after you've done some local SEO, you want to check back in. Now, you might want to do this weekly. You might want to do this monthly. It kind of depends, but this is exactly where these tools come in and they can help you. Now, I'm going to start breaking down the differences between these two tools, but just so you know, if you want to get a free GeoGrid for your business, there's going to be a form below and we're going to make it super easy. Give us your name, your business name, your location, and the keyword you want us to look up, and we'll send you back a GeoGrid. Now, we're doing that manually, so give us some time to get back to you, but we will get back to you, okay? So check out the link in the description. You can get a free GeoGrid just with this video. Hopefully, we don't get too many submissions like the last time I did this, but you should go fill one out anyway. All right, now it's time to compare the two tools head-to-head, Local Falcon and Whitespark's new local ranking grids. We're going to start with the incumbent, Local Falcon, because they actually invented GeoGrids, and so we're going to start with them. Now, just a little full disclosure here, we do use Local Falcon at our agency. We've used them for well over a year. We are on the $25 per month plan, which you're going to see the pricing here in a second, and I think they're a very solid tool. So I feel very confident recommending this tool just because we use it on a daily basis. All right, so here's Local Falcon's features. I want to really break this down for you. You're probably going to be on this first tier, which is the one that we're on right here. Now, the nice thing is you get unlimited keywords and locations. However, you are limited by the number of credits. And you're going to see that each pin that you drop is a credit. So that's pretty much how it works with all these tools. Now, it's nice that you can kind of set up a campaign, so you can set up regular scanning for a certain business. This is pretty standard for most of these tools. Competitor reports, trend reports, I was just looking at that recently. It's a nice tool. And it also even gives you tracking in Apple Maps if you want to do specific searches for that, which is pretty cool. If you're on the yearly plan, you actually get access to like the API and Zapier, Looker Studio. So if you have a small SEO agency and you're watching this video, then you know how you can use these tools. And it's a nice feature. We don't use that personally, but I think they're nice features and we might look more into that down the road. Now, the place where Local Falcon really stands apart is that it's also starting to have AI overview tracking as well as ChatGPT tracking. So that is nice because we want to keep track of where we're showing up in AI search. And all that's going to cost you $24.99 per month. That breaks down to about a third of a penny per pin, which we're going to see is a pretty fair price. So what do we like about Local Falcon? Well, we like that they're the incumbent. It's a very mature product and it just stinking works. It's got some fancy new AI features and even some stuff where you can chat with the results, which is nice. And the only thing I really don't like is that the entry price point is $24.99, which can be a little hard if you're a small business owner to commit to that right away. But if you think about it, that's a small investment to make. But I want you to remember that point. All right, we're gonna go out and pick a random business right now. Check this out. We got an AI overview on a near me search. So that's always interesting. All right, these guys seem to be the big dogs in town. So Wilson's Concrete Ceiling. They got one review. Let's see how they're doing. All right, I want to show how easy it is to add a location. You can actually just search right here. Sometimes if it's a common name, you might also have to add in the city and state here. No problem. Those are our guys. We'll add that location. All right, just so everybody knows, no affiliation with Wilson Concrete Ceiling. They're just random people we found on the internet today. You'll notice as we're going to put in the keyword, it's even giving us some suggestions. We're going to go with concrete ceiling near me. Now, I would recommend that you do your own keyword research, but this is a nice shortcut. By the way, if you need help like doing all this stuff and maybe you're not quite ready to invest, because we'd love for you to work with us, but if you're not quite at that point yet, you should probably check out 30dayseo.com. That's our 30-day local SEO playbook. We kind of walk through all this stuff. We even talk about how to use geogrids, how to do keyword research, how to do on-page SEO. So it's a whole thing. It's like the biggest complaint I get is that it's too long. So anyway, 30dayseo.com, go check that out. And we're going to go with concrete ceiling near me. We're going to leave the AI analysis on because I want to show you guys that. We're going to move this pin a little bit closer to the middle of town. This is my least favorite thing. So you got to click up there. And then also, this is a feature that I did not know about for a long time, is that you can actually click on these pins and get rid of the ones where there's no location. Nobody lives in this park right here. So I can take some of these off and just save us some credits as we go along. People do live out here. There we go. So we'll just run this scan right now. And it gives you a little warning, which is nice. And then this is going to be queued up and it'll be done in no time. In fact, it got done in seconds. Oh yeah, there are not a lot of results. So obviously these guys don't have a ton of competition. They're ranking first all over the city. We'd love to see this. If you can get to this point, things are going great. They make it so you can look at your competitors like this on the list. Then you can also view the report. So here's the report, gives you the nice little geogrid, which you can actually download and share. If you want to brag to your friends, or if you're doing SEO, then you want to share it with your client. Also gives you an AI analysis right here. I'm going to get my face out of the way here so we can see that. We've got an AI analysis, which is kind of nice. And then it gives you some recommendations here. It also gives you some citations that might be worth you getting listed on. And it points out some competitors that are maybe vulnerable that you can kind of chip away at. And so very cool that it gives you these suggestions. And so I want you to remember that, because I think that's one of the massive selling points for Local Falcon. Now let's move on to talk about Whitespark's local ranking grids. So these are the new kids on the block. And I will say, when it comes to these geogrids, chef's kiss, they are sexy. All right, there's a couple cool features baked into this that aren't readily apparent until you actually start digging in with it. I will say these guys just look really cool. And also, it just released this month, so they're probably going to be dropping more features. So just keep that in mind. Jump to that page. We'll have links to both these tools in the descriptions. So I would just double check the feature list if you're watching this video down the road. All right, I'm going to do this in a slightly different order because I think for Whitespark, it's easier to show you the features than to just list them off. So let's see how easy it is to add a business to Whitespark's. So we can just search for the business right here, and there they are. Now, quick note, if you're a service area business and you don't have your address publicly visible, you're gonna have to do a slightly different step. It's only one extra step. You're gonna click this option right here, Google Maps URL option, and then you're gonna go find, it's showing you how to do it right here. You're just gonna go to Google Maps, find your GBP, and then just paste the URL in there. I had to do that for ThenCam when I was looking up our results earlier. It's actually super easy. It's just one extra step. You don't have to do that in Local Falcon. So points to Local Falcon for that, but it's not that bad. But here's our friends, Wilson Concrete Ceiling. Let's see how they're doing. We'll click continue. And now it looks a lot like Local Falcon, but with a lot cooler interface. So we'll do this. Bump out the miles. I wish they had finer control on the miles, but this is okay. So we'll go out to 3 miles, and then we'll go out to, and just like Local Falcon, you can come in here and you can knock out the ones that are on the side. Now I will say at this point, even though I love the look of this, I wish I could see the normal map for a second here, because then I can see the parks, I could see the lakes, I can see the stuff where I don't want to run a geogrid, but that's a small quirk, and it would almost be nice if you could just like click a button, like let me see the regular map for a second while I do this, and then turn it back off like really quick. That would be awesome. Anyway, let's keep moving. All right, so you do have to add manually. Again, no problem. You should be doing your own keyword research anyway. And with both tools, you can add in multiple keywords at this point, and you can run all the scans at the same time. By default, it's trying to schedule some scans, which is great because you do want to track this over time. We're just going to do an immediate scan this time. And we're off to the races. I mean, even the loading screen looks cool, right? So obviously this looks way better. And really than any other tool. Like if you've used Local Dominator or Local Falcon or Bright Local or SEMrush Local, or like there's a lot of tools out there that are also geogrids, but I feel like nobody's better than Local Falcon that's out there right now, especially for the price point. And so that's why I'm willing to look at, say, new tools. All right, while we wait for that to finish, I'm going to show you the features here with our results from Bend Web Design. And so similarly, if you click on this, I'll get out of the way here, you can see, you kind of see where your competitors rank up. Now, what's really cool is once you click on one of your competitors, you get some more information. This is a lot like a lot of tools like GMB Everywhere and Plepper have kind of similar features. They give you some quick links, which is important. But one of the coolest things is this compare feature. And so it makes it so you can put two businesses side by side. Now, by the way, we love Hillary. She's in Local SEO Academy, which is my community of 50 plus local SEO providers that are out there trying to get better and provide better services for our clients. But yeah, we love Hillary. She's the only other person in Bend. And so she's creeping up on me in some places, but that's good. That means she's using it. But it's really cool to be able to compare businesses like this, especially as you're rising the ranks. When you're not ranking as highly, it's good to know who should I be looking at that's got that nice spread. What can I glean from their profile that's publicly visible? What can I glean from their website? Because your website does influence your Google business profile. So I think this versus mode is a phenomenal feature. Okay, so now I want to show off a different feature that I think is really cool. Most of these Geogrid tools do this feature. If you're ranking more than 20th, they just put 20 plus. They're trying to save crawl credits. I understand what you're doing there. But especially in the early days, I mean, there's a big difference between 22nd and 82nd. So 20 plus, it could be either one. If you're 82nd, you're way off the mark. But if you're 22nd, especially if you started at like 82nd, you've made a ton of progress. You're like almost to the point where you're starting to show up where it might matter. And that means you're heading in the right direction. We love that. Over here, I brought up another competitor, Savage Sky Designs. Shout out to Brittany, by the way. She does amazing logo work and her websites are pretty good. I mean, I think ours are better, but you know, nah, I'm just kidding. So check out this Geogrid over here. Do you notice something a little different than Local Falcon? Like not only does it look badass, but look at this. 26, 22, 25. So she's right on the precipice of being on the first page. And she's also ranking very highly over here, but you don't get the 20 plus. That's really cool. That is a very cool feature that it goes past 20. So chef's kiss for that feature. So I will say that Whitespark looks really good, has some cool little features hidden in it, but when we're doing a fair comparison between Local Falcon and these local ranking grids from Whitespark, they don't have any of the extra search engines yet. No AI overviews, no ChatGPT search, no Apple Maps. So if you're looking for those features, you're definitely going to lean towards Local Falcon no matter what. But honestly, I probably wouldn't check a lot of those things anyway. Oh, and we got our Geogrid for Wilson Concrete Sealant showing up here. So look at that. Nice and clean. You can see all your competitors right there. Very cool. Very cool. So what's the cost? So for most people, you'll probably go with the $10 or $20 per month plan, which you'll be able to get a pin for either half of a penny or 4/10 of a penny. If you remember, Local Falcon was about 1/3 of a penny. So it's actually a little bit more, but what I do like is that with their monthly plans, you can get in at $10 per month. And honestly, if you're just trying to do your own SEO or you only have a few clients right now as an SEO provider, the $10 per month plan is pretty sweet. And I know what it was like when I first started scaling my SEO agency. Every dollar counts. And so having a plan like this available is a really, really nice touch. All right, so you've made it through the whole video, so it's time for the result. Who do I think is the winner? Well, drum roll, please. It's Local Falcon. For most businesses. Here's the thing, if you want the more mature product, if you want the thing that has more features, then for sure, get Local Falcon. But I would do the math on the amount of credits you need. A 7x7 grid is 49 credits, so it's about 50. If you get 7,000 credits per month, that means you can track 140 keywords. If you divide that by week, that's 35 keywords per week. Now, if you're just doing your business, that's actually overkill. You don't need to spend that much on this expense. So that brings me back to Whitespark's local ranking grids. For $10 per month, you get 2,000 credits. And again, using that 50 credit number, dividing it by 4 weeks, that means you can track about 10 keywords. That's a pretty good amount of keywords to really be able to track your results in Google Maps. So I think you need to ask yourself where you're at in business, and that'll answer your question of what you need. Do you want to see where showing up in AI overviews and ChatGPT search and Apple Maps? Well, then you have to pick Local Falcon. You don't have a choice. If you want to save a couple dollars and also have some really pretty geogrids, well, then you're going to be just fine with Whitespark's local ranking grids. The nice thing is now we have more choice. There's actually plenty of other tools out there. You should definitely look at Local Dominator, Local Viking. SEMrush has a local SEO tool built into it if you're already using that. So there's a lot of competitors out there. So there's a lot of choices. But at the end of the day, I think Local Falcon is still the most mature product. They're the ones that invented GeoGrids in the first place. But if you're looking to try something else out, I think Whitespark's local ranking grids might be exactly what you need if you're just getting started or you only have a handful of keywords you want to track anyway. And by the way, if you got through this whole video and you're curious to be like, where are we ranking? And you don't want to sign up for all this stuff, check out that link in the description. Get yourself a free GeoGrid. Again, you just got to give us your business name, your website, your location, and a keyword, and we'll send it back to you in a couple days. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, shoot, I don't even know which keyword to send to you, well, then you should check out this video next. I'll catch you in that one.